Welcome to another episode of the 24th Floor. This time we're just going to make it all college basketball March Madness because it is that time of the year. We are a weekend in and we down to the Sweet 16. So, you know, we got the gang back together. We got Ruben Diaz, Ezekiel Telemaco joining us again. We obviously got to see where we stand, gentlemen, once we now at the Sweet 16. So let's get right to it. So where we at?
Whoa. You're not just gonna brush by all that.
Wait, what?
So far, just so we're all on the same page, so far in the office pool, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. I am not first right now, unfortunately. I'm third. Denson's tied for eighth. Zeke is at the bottom of the pile. And when I say the bottom of the pile, I mean it don't get no worse than Zeke's bracket. So now that I've set the stage for where we're all at, now you can proceed.
Put me on the spot. You are in third, but you're not projected to win. I still have good odds.
Now we can proceed.
Of course, this man got a victory lap, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, that's true. But it's almost over.
All right. Anyway, as we are into the Sweet 16, let's just kind of recap a little bit of the first two rounds. Were there anything that kind of surprised you all? What was some standout performances in this first round for you?
Oh man, the guard from High Point. I cannot think of the guy's name. The little point guard from High Point. Phenomenal first two games. I mean, the dude just put the team on his back, and went toe to toe with Darius Acuff Jr., who is by far probably become my favorite player. Him and Camboose are 1-2 for me. Not even a question anymore. So that's been my highlight. Watching that team perform, even though they lost to Arkansas, which I'm glad they did because I got Arkansas going, watching that game and that team go toe-to-toe was fun. So,
Zeke, how you doing in your Sweet 16? I mean, Ruben put you on the spot saying you in last, so, what's your...
I would have been completely cooked. I mean, I was, sweating so crazy because I was just watching that game, Duke versus Siena. I'm like, my whole bracket is going to be destroyed. Luckily, they were able to come back. So I was really surprised that they didn't lose. I know that, Ruben, I don't know if you think that they're frauds, but you said that you don't think they're even going to make the Final Four. So I would say when it comes to that, just watching that specifically, I'm kind of worried about the rest of my bracket because I'm just like, if Siena's, the lowest ranked team in the tournament,
16 over 1.
What is it going to look like when they're going to compete against the real talent coming up? Exactly. So I would say that's what my biggest concerns are in terms of what's going forward in the bracket. I think my mic is cutting out a little bit, but I would say that that's my biggest concerns. What about you?
So, I mean, I went 10 for 16. I'm 10 out of 16 on my Sweet 16. Some hits that, some things that hurt me was Florida losing. That kind of burned me. And I kind of gave Ty Golden the respect of a defending champion and thinking that they would at least make it back to the Sweet 16. I underestimated Ben McCollum. I think he is our next, I call him the next Brad Stevens. What his body of work, what he's been able to do to make a winner at Drake, make a winner in the D2 level, to go to Iowa. He has a little guard named Bennett Sturts who probably plays the right way, kind of how Ruben would want a point guard to play. For them, I just didn't like that last possession, how Florida lost the game. I think Boogie Flang gambled on the steal. That left the corners open for the game-winning three. Just bad execution defensively, and that part hurt me. I text Ruben about this. Gonzaga losing.
Yeah, that hurt.
Oh. I mean, I had Texas beating BYU, but I didn't think that they would beat Gonzaga because, once again, when it comes to tournaments, to the March Madness, I give coaches a lot of respect.
Yeah, Mark Few's really good.
Yeah, and so guys like Mark Few, guys like Tom Izzo, guys like Ty Golden, I expect them to make at least the Sweet 16. And Gonzaga just not playing well against Texas, it kind of hurt me. I almost was a genius on the Cal Baptist pick. They just got off to a slow start in that game. And, I mean, by the time they came back, they went on an 18-2 run, made it spooky at the end, but they just ran out of time. But other than that, Ruben's going victory lap, but I'm feeling good about my Sweet 16. I mean,
you always feeling good, even when you shouldn't. I will say the biggest surprise has probably been Texas.
Yeah.
Even though you picked them early, they were not playing as well as you would expect them to play.
That's why they were a first four team.
Yeah, I mean, to be a first four and then to get the wins and kind of turn it on when they needed to, I think it says a lot about Texas. You give a lot of credence to the coaches. Part of my biggest flaw in this bracket, and I'll tell you about flaw, is that I was giving too much credence to this high draft class.
Yeah.
The AJs of the world, I was giving them too much I expected them to have to go on the world stage and put on the show, and I just, even though he had 30-something in their loss, and didn't have
to do it by himself.
Yeah, I gave a little bit too much credit to that.
And that's something that we talked about last week. It was like, I literally said, AJ, he can give you 30, even 40 sometimes. I think he wound up scoring 35 that game, but it just wasn't enough. And, one player, especially for this tournament, I have a list of the top 50 scorers. Most of these teams are eliminated, when it comes to them performing and having great individual performances. But in terms of team basketball, this is not the NBA where a player like Wembanyama can just take over and just snap. It's just a lot more complicated than that. And, again, I thought Wisconsin was going to go pretty far, too.
Well, that's because you must have been smoking something that
No, he came
We all
from
knew
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin wasn't going nowhere.
You guys said it.
Zeke came to us from Wisconsin, so I get it.
And I would say that they play a lot like my Boston Celtics when it comes to that Joe Mazzulla ball. They live and die by the three. So I had some confidence in that. I said, hey, if they're hitting all their shots, they're going to make it far. But you can make that argument for any team realistically. And, I'm looking at this bracket. I'm actually very worried about St. John's right now. I know that you said they were legit. That's why I thought UConn, they were frauds because St. John's beat them twice. But now looking back at it, UConn is really good too. It's just St. John's is a really good team. So I'm kind of concerned for the Blue Devils right now. What do you guys think in terms of that matchup they're playing Friday?
Well, I'm gonna say I picked Duke.
Me too.
I picked Duke. But, man, Rick Pitino is just he just knows how to fire
that
these
team
guys
was
up.
good enough to win it all last year and just made a couple of mistakes. I think I still have Duke. I don't necessarily feel confident about that.
I think it's a neck-and-neck game.
It's especially because Duke is kind of looked, and then, I don't know, if Caleb Foster and Ngongba are going to be healthy for this game. They'll need them. If those two guys play and they at least are 80% of themselves, Duke should win this game. But if St. John's, the way they have been playing, been clicking, now don't get it twisted. St. John's barely is in this game because it took a game winner over Kansas to get that, which,
Great game. Two legendary coaches. Man, what a game.
I don't know, man.
But again, that goes to what I'm saying. I put too much credence on those stars. Peterson I didn't feel like. So the biggest difference, I know we only got a couple minutes left. The biggest difference so far that I've seen is Darius Acuff Jr. took over the game when he needed to against High Point. Cam Boozer took over that game when he needed to for Duke to will them to win. Peterson did not, and DeMonsa couldn't. They just couldn't at that point. And however many points you scored, when you got to get a bucket, who are you going to go to? And that's where I messed up probably the most. And I've always kind of felt like Kansas drops the ball here lately in the last, they'll win one and drop one. So I wasn't confident in them, but that's been my biggest issue.
Absolutely. My question for both of you guys is, what is your biggest regret when it comes to your bracket? Looking at it right now, what did you kind of have an urge or a gut feeling to go with, and then you kind of wind up saying, oh, why did I do this?
I know this immediately. Let me go ahead and quickly say mine. I'm picking Virginia over Tennessee. I feel like I slipped the finger, like I should have gave credence to Rick Barnes and crew watching Tennessee, giving Ament that respect. I was immediately mad when I looked at my bracket, and I was like, dang, I had UVA, so I'll go with Tennessee.
I could take that one, too, but my biggest regret is not riding Texas. It's the SEC. I should have known better. That's a whole different animal. I should have known they'd be ready to go, and I should have picked Texas. I'm from Texas, and I didn't pick Texas.
Exactly.
I may not be able to go home.
Well, you're from the Houston area. Those Austin folks in Houston, it's a little bit of a rivalry going on.
Yeah, I know we got to take a break, and when we come back, what do you want to talk about when we come back?
We're going to give ourselves a second chance. So we're going to pick the Sweet 16. We're going to wipe the slate clean, act like, we didn't do anything, and we'll just pick our Sweet 16 from there on out.